Now, once again, in our region, it's time for another weekend of activities. Well, actually, where we live, we have weekend activities 12 months a year because we really are in a vacation spot here in the northwest corner of Connecticut and also southeast Massachusetts, southwest Massachusetts, and eastern New York. But over the past several years, an event has cropped up every winter and every summer. It's turned into a very, very, very big event, and it's a great event because it's called A Weekend in Norfolk, Connecticut, and there's a winter edition and there's a summer edition. It is coming up this summer, August 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. It's really the first weekend in August every year. But with us, we have one of the organizing committee, Ned Barron, and also someone who has got some put together the art show and is an artist himself, Tom Hollis. Ned and Tom, thanks for joining us today.
You're welcome. A pleasure.
It's my pleasure also.
We will start off with the member of the organizing committee. All right. The more I take a look, by the way, while we're talking and while you folks are listening to this, weekendinnorfolk.org, weekendinnorfolk.org, there's a full website full of information. All you have to do is right at the top, they've got summer weekend, visit, music, art, nature, kids. You'll find everything there is to know about it at that website as well. But first, I guess we'll start off with you, Ned, and talk a little bit about the 3-day weekend and just the plethora and variation of activities that you have offered up here.
Well, it really is an amazing lineup this year of events. We have over 80 events that are scheduled over 3 days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, as you had mentioned. And just as an overview, Weekend in Norfolk, which we call WIN for short, is a multi-day set of special events put on by almost every group in the community. And it celebrates all aspects of Norfolk, its natural beauty, its cultural richness, its history of civic engagement, and its amazing community spirit. Each group is responsible for organizing its own event within the established framework, which that's the organizing committee that I'm part of. So we set the organizing committee sets the framework, we coordinate the events, and publicize the overall weekend with help from other volunteers. But the WIN weekends bring Norfolk residents together both to cooperate and to have fun, but its ultimate goal is to showcase Norfolk's special qualities and attractions to visitors and potential new residents. And it's intended to bring visitors to town to shop, stay overnight, eat in our restaurants, and to hopefully want them to come back. And eventually we hope that we'll hook some of them into buying property, living here, putting their children in our great schools, and then joining the town's volunteer pool.
All right, now, Tom, I'll talk to you about this, and you are really involved with the Artists and Friends, the annual art exhibition, right?
Yes, indeed. This year will be our 11th annual art show.
Now, what I find interesting, just looking at your website, you've got, even though this weekend in Norfolk is scheduled for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, you've had 2 early bird bonus events, and Tom, will go to you first because the first early bird bonus event, August 1st from 5 till 7, is the preview for that art show, right?
Yes, indeed, that's true. This is our first year we're having that sneak preview.
And then you're going to have the Emerging Artist Showcase, which is also at the Yale Music Shed on Battelle Road, and an open mic night as well on the first at 8 o'clock in the evening at Infinite.
Right. Now, the Emerging Artist Showcase is actually a musicians, the musician fellows from the Yale Summer Chamber Music Festival. That will be a concert.
Okay, so that'll be a concert. So on top of the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, from the middle afternoon to late evening on that bonus day, the 1st, there's lots of nice things going on for people.
There's lots of things. It's a very cultural event. It's outdoors. There's walking tours. There's hikes. There are so many things that are happening. There's something really for everyone.
Now, Ned, let's just get an overview. Do you have a couple of these events? By the way, once again, you can find out all the different events, and I mean there are tons of them at Norfolk, weekendinnorfolk.org, also on their Facebook page, Weekend in Norfolk. But do you have a couple of favorite events that you see on the schedule that each year?
Well, one of the things, I really love the outdoors. One of the things that really attracted me to Norfolk and one of the reasons why I moved there was the natural resources that we have in town. We have the Norfolk Land Trust, which has miles and miles of hiking trails, and we also have 4 state parks in the town, which is pretty amazing, and I don't know if there is any other town in the state of Connecticut that has 4 state parks in it. But one of my favorite events to do is what's called, and put on by the Norfolk Land Trust, is called Hike the Peaks Challenge. And what it is during the 3 days that people are challenged to hike Land Trust trails, and some of those trails are in the state parks, to hike the 6 peaks, the highest points in the town. And if you successfully do that, then you are rewarded with a T-shirt given to you by the Norfolk Land Trust. So that's one of my favorite things to do. But there are an amazing amount of things going on this year. Especially, we have 3 inns in town, and all 3 of them are hosting open houses this year with food tastings, music, and holistic healing demos, and a couple of new events that we have this year. We have a Tai Chi class that's taking place on our town green. We have a walking tour of Norfolk's industrial past, and really interestingly is an e-bike test rides and information sessions that are going to be going on throughout the weekend, which I think for a lot of us that's a pretty interesting event that's going to be taking place.
It's funny that you brought that up, because one of the things I have here on my computer in front of me that I selected to ask you about was that. I think my neighbor just bought an e-bike. Lots of people are buying e-bikes because it enables them, I think, it's a little safer and easier to navigate and go on some of these bike rides up the hilly terrain that we have. And with the advancement with batteries, it really is amazing how long they last.
It is amazing, and I think that there are a lot of people I don't want to say the aging population, but they're me included. They're getting a little older, and the e-bikes just are making biking more doable and accessible to people who otherwise wouldn't be doing it. So it's I think it's really going to change the bike industry, especially in this area, because of the hills, as you mentioned.
You know, another thing that I always liked from the onset with the Weekend in Norfolk, I don't know how many people do this. I've been married without taking revows 3 times myself, and that's not revows or renewing my vows. But on August 2nd, from 3 to 5, you can get married or renew your vows in Norfolk on the Village Green. That's a pretty interesting and unusual event, but it is there. Some people take up the offer every year, and we're hoping that we're going to have one or more couples that are going to renew their vows or get married for the first time. Now, Tom, let's get back to you and talk about art, because it's one thing our area is known for far and wide, and that is the wide and various arts that go on. So let's talk a little bit about the art that's going to be presented, not only that opening night, but also throughout the event.
Well, with the Norfolk Artists and Friends Art Show, we have 32 artists exhibiting their work, so that will be the Thursday night, Friday, and Saturday. But we also have many other wonderful things. We have Christopher Little exhibiting his photographs at the Norfolk Library during the weekend. We have watercolors being exhibited at the Hub by Leslie Watkins, as well as I have a show at the Norfolk Hub of my abstract paintings. There are just really a lot of things. The stained glass windows at the Battelle Chapel will be exhibited. So there's really a lot of opportunities for people to explore the visual arts. We also have a wood turning demonstration in the plaza in in the center of Norfolk on Sunday. So there's really a lot of things to whet your artistic appetite.
And I guess this kind of is it nice because I think you also have one of the more interesting and more full farmers markets that happens in Norfolk, and that is also probably just because it's there another very, very popular part of this weekend, I would figure.
Indeed, it is. And what's interesting over the last couple of years, as well as having a fabulous outdoor market featuring, the goods grown by our local farmers, we also have people presenting their artistic and hobby items for sale as well. So it's turning into a really well-rounded farmers market.
And I see other things like I see open house like at the curling club. I see the Blackberry River Inn from 1 to 4. I mean, there really is a lot of other activities that tie this all together. And then,
indeed, historic homes are being toured. There's walking tours. The historical museum has events happening there, so it's really amazing.
Well, once again, it is Weekend in Norfolk, the summer edition. And the summer weekend is coming up, like we always say, the first weekend in August, the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. But they have the August 1st to have those events that start in the afternoon. Once again, more information on all this and much, much more is available on their website, weekendinnorfolk.org. And if you are a member of Facebook, by the way, they also have a Facebook page, Weekend in Norfolk. Guys, I mean, have a great weekend once again with this summer edition. And are you guys both as involved in the winter one, or do you leave other people to handle the winter ones?
Well, that's a tricky question.
I'm sorry,
it
go
depends
ahead.
on the year for me.
What about you, Ned?
Yeah, I was involved in organizing this past year's winter weekend in Norfolk.
All right. Well, keep up the great work. I think this is a great addition for people, another reason for people to come visit our area, because not only when they visit Norfolk, but they get to travel through the rest of Northwest Connecticut and our adjacent areas as well, which brings a success to everybody. So keep up the good work, and thanks for joining us today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Marshall.